The Lord had shown me some scriptures and was like really just tying things in for me. And hopefully, I'll be able to explain this to you the way that I really want to. But I just pray in Jesus' name that He will, you know, speak for me. Oh, yes. Let me get some of this ginger. Ah, yes, the ginger honey crystals. They're so good. I could eat it all by itself. Okay. So, first of all, I want to talk about Micah, the book of Micah, and chapter 7. And the verse 8 is just a part of verse 8, but I just want to read this part. It says, "The Lord will be a light to me." All right. So, last night before I fell asleep, like as I was dozing off, I started to see, like, I don't know if it was like the beginning of the dream, like beginning of my dreaming, or if it was like a vision. But anyway, nonetheless, I saw this little girl, and she was black, and she was so pretty, and she looked like she was maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5, maybe 3, I don't know, 3, 4, or 5, somewhere around there. And I remember, like, we were standing outside, and she was standing there. It was sunny, and she looked so nice. You know, she wasn't like overly dressed, like she was about to go to like church or something, but she, you know, she looked so nice and well kept, and her hair was nice and cute, little ponytails and stuff. And she was just standing there, and she just was just looking, she just looked so adorable. And I remember thinking when I saw her, I was like, oh my goodness, I think she's my daughter. I think that's my daughter. It's like my daughter, like a daughter I haven't given birth to yet. You know what I mean? Like my future child, right? How many people have had those kind of dreams where you see a child and you think it's your child in the future? You know what I mean? Because you know it's not your child right now. It's like a child that you've never seen before in your life, and you wonder if it's your future child. Well, that's what I thought. And she looked like a little princess, and you know, she was very, very healthy. Like I said, she was really cute and well dressed and just well taken care of. And you know, you could tell that she was blessed, and I could see that she had something very special about her. Like the glory of God was around her, on her. It's so much so, like when you look at her, like you don't want to take your eyes off of her. Like, you know, there's just something extremely special about her. She was like the most precious child that I've ever seen. And there's a lot of precious child, but she was like the most precious, you know? And so anyway, then later on, as I, you know, hours had gone by, and I had a dream about something else. So I had a dream that I saw a moat. That's what I want to call it. I call it a moat, which is like this little area of water. But the crazy part about it was that it was like in the middle of a shopping square. You know how you have like those little, like a little strip mall, or like a little square, like a shopping square, where it's kind of like a mall, but it's like outside. So it was like a shopping square where many people were like standing around talking. Some people were passing by. Other people were just like rushing to get some food, like takeout food. Some people were sitting down at restaurants. You know how they have like the little tables and chairs, they sit outside, and people just sitting and talking and eating and stuff. So there was like a mixture of people, but the majority of the people were like Asian, and then the next majority was like Hispanic. And then there was like, you know, other diverse people in the mix, but not many at all. So anyway, in this moat was an alligator, and it was huge. It was huge, and it looked very ancient. And it was trying to come out of this moat in the middle of this shopping square. And it was just trying to come out. It was like crawling out, and it was almost out. But then it would be like these group of men that looked like they literally worked in this center, this shopping place. And because they all had like the same uniform on, where it looked like they had like those vests that have like that reflective tape on it, and it's like neon, and then they have like that reflective tape that's like really shiny, and like when the light hits it, it's like all glittery. You know what I'm talking about. So they all had that on. So I know they were a team. And so they would come out, and they would have like these big long poles, and they would like use those poles to like push this alligator back down into the water. And then they would just walk away, and you didn't see them anymore. So I was just like, I noticed this all happening, and I was just like, okay. So I was with like a group of children, and they were like between the ages of, I would say probably between the ages of like 7 and 11. So some were like taller than the others, and some were older than the others, but they were all in the same range, like around the same age group, And but nonetheless, they were young children. And I had this group of children with me, and I was so worried. Like, I wanted to get to the other side, but I was worried about that alligator coming out, and I was worried that it was going to eat me. And I was also worried that it was going to eat the children, And I was just like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. So we were just standing by. Basically out of fear of just moving forward to the other side, because of that creature of an alligator that was right there in the center of the place. But it had access to come out, but I just I wasn't trying to get killed by this animal, and I didn't want these children to get killed either. So anyway, all right, so what it was that the children were very hungry. They were very, very hungry, and I was kind of hungry, but I knew the children were very hungry, and I just wanted to get them to a place where they could eat well, And so I kept telling the children to just wait. I kept telling them to wait, because it didn't appear to be safe to me for us to go. And then, but during this time, while we were waiting, the group of men, the team of men who worked there, kept coming back out to keep pushing down this alligator, because the alligator kept coming up, and they kept coming out, and they kept pushing the alligator down. And so, it was like they would poke the alligator, and then the alligator would be like, it was like the alligator knew to just go back down in the water, because the alligator wasn't even fighting these guys at all. He would just go back down into the water. And so I was like noticing that, and I remember thinking that if we would just run while they were pushing back the alligator, we could get to the other side, right? And then I realized that I was with small children. I'm like, wait, these children are small. These are like young children, and they might not follow directions very well. And also, they might freeze up out of fear if they make any eye contact with the alligator. So like if it were just me, I would have been gone. I would have been like, whatever, I would have just gone. But because I had like these group of children with me, I had to take into consideration their mind frames and like where they were at, and if they were scared to go, you know, like what would be the right time for them more so. So I was just thinking about like, you know, the possibilities and things with the children. So yeah, so you know, I thought maybe they might freeze up and be all scared, and you know, just, you know, and maybe start crying, and you know, just too much going on, you know, just that's not what I would want, you know. So the next thing I knew was, here comes this young man. He just comes out of nowhere. Maybe not out of nowhere, he probably just came from somewhere, another store, or just, you know, was passing by. But he came up with us, and he decided, he just basically just took the lead. And he had this look in his eyes, like he was like determined to get us to the other side. And so he took the lead, and he told us when to go, and we just put our trust in him to help us cross over to the other side safely. And then all of a sudden I realized that it was only 3 of us. It was the young man, myself, and the little girl. And the little girl looked famished. She looks like she was so tired, exhausted, hungry, and she looked very weak. And so I remember just feeling like really concerned looking at her, and you know, kind of wondering, like, is she going to be able to make it across? Is she going to be strong enough to do this? Like, will she, you know, like the worst case scenario, is she going to like faint or pass out right in front of the alligator? You know what I mean? So, and then, you know, if the alligator sees her, is he going to look at her as food? And so, you know, I was just like really concerned about her. And you know, because I knew like if I was to run, I know I would make it. You know, I believed in myself. I believed that I could make it. The young man, he was strong. I was like, oh yeah, you know, there was no doubt in my mind. I knew he knew what he was doing, and I knew he knew how to make it to the other side. But the young girl, she was so weak. She was so hungry, and so she was so famished. And I was just like, I don't know if she's gonna make it. I don't know, like, you know, that was my concern. I was worried about her. I don't know what happened to the rest of the children. They must have just like scattered or something. I don't even know. They just weren't there anymore. And so then I looked up, and I saw the young man and the little girl running off. They were gone. I didn't even hear him say, let's go, or it's time to go, or like now, you know, they just took off. And I was just like running behind them. I was just running and running. And I had noticed that the alligator was trying to crawl out of the water again. And I was just like, I remember thinking, like this courageous thought, thinking there is no way I'm gonna let anything happen to her, right? And so I started running. I kept running after them, and then just like the time before, and the time before that, and the time before that, those same team of men came out. And when they would come out, they would come out so like nonchalant, like they've done this so many times. They already knew the outcome. They wasn't worried or concerned. They were just like, you know, this is their job. This is just what they do. You know, they came out and they pushed the alligator back down into the water. The alligator went back down, and we got to the other side, and we were all on the other side. And yeah. So, and when we we were running by, so it was fine, but they were ahead of me. They had ran ahead of me. So anyway, so when we had passed by, I looked at, after we had got to the other side, I looked at the young man, and the young man who had guided us and to the other side, and I asked him, you know, if he was hungry too. And he smiled and he just started laughing, and he said, "Yes, I am.